Hello everyone, it's Samresh Taneja from Prabhat Kids School presenting before you chapter of history, the age of industrialization, subunit market for goods. Okay, so after the end of this particular video you will be able to know about how the goods were sold in the market, what were the different techniques that were used by the manufacturers. Okay, so my dear children, talking about how the goods are to being sold. Okay, so today even the same thing has been followed, same thing has been done what was done earlier. Okay, so when we talk about the factories, they have made up of their goods, and now what is the next task for them? To sell the goods. And selling of goods is not that easy. You need to win the hearts of the people, even my dear children. And talking about which were the different ways that were used by manufacturers or producers at that time. Talking about those days, my dear children, during the time of Industrial Revolution, the producers, the Indian or talking about the East India Company, they were well aware that the Indian people, they are too religious, and that's why they use certain ways. Ways in which way? Talking about labeling of a particular good, on the top of the particular good, image of the gods and goddesses, in different ways. And these were done through advertisements. So advertisements, we see a number of advertisements, we see the hoardings, and my dear children, even these days, what is the thing? Use the WhatsApp status even as a medium of advertisement. So what we are doing, what we are selling, or what we want to convey, if we want to popularize ourselves, use the medium of status of WhatsApp, even Instagram, even Facebook. These are the modern ways of advertisement. Okay, but talking about those days, what were the things, how it took place, what were done, let's talk about them. So advertisement, labeling and calendars were used to popularize products by both British and Indian manufacturers. So advertisement played a very important role during those days, and now even. See my dear children, I am holding a newspaper. Okay. It talks about Tulsi 51 drugs. Okay, so Tulsi 51 drops, it's telling about what? To increase your immune system. This is one way of advertisement which we can see today by the usage of newspaper. Advertisement through newspapers, magazines, hoardings and street walls, television screens were used by the producers to expand their market. Okay, so when we move around, when we go into the market or when we walk, we see the different hoardings are there, which talk about a different product, which talks about the giving the message to the people. Okay, we have studied about advertisements in class 7. Okay, my dear children, it talks about how the advertisement attract the consumers, how we are attracted, and how we try to purchase the goods. So during that period, even newspapers, magazines, holding street walls, on the walls, even the advertisements are there. Television screens were used by the producers to expand their market. Advertisement makes product appear desirable and necessary. Desirable, you need it. Okay, it's necessary. Without you cannot survive. Talking about many years back. Okay, going around 25 years back. So mobile phones, that was not a necessary for you all. But now with the changes of times, our needs have increased. Okay, so now we have started what? We are changing ourselves, and it's all because of the advertisement. So advertisements attract you, and you are feeling to purchase that particular goods. Okay, mobile has become the need, and now internet services are in need of you, because when you are going for the online classes, even if you don't have internet, then you won't be able to assess the things which have been taught or which are there online. So desirable and necessary. So it is a need of time to have the internet connection now. Okay, with the time of COVID-19. Okay. They try to shape up the minds of people and create new needs in them. Shape the mind, they attract us. You see the cine stars, Amitabh and others, talking about Sachin Tendulkar, talking about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. They used to do the advertisements because we are the fans, we are the lovers of those great people, and whatever they advertise, we feel that we must go with that particular products and we must purchase them. Okay, today we live in the world of advertisements. Already I told you in the beginning, my dear children, that we are using different ways to advertise, to popularize ourselves. Okay, sharing the links of YouTube. Okay, talking about status, talking about Facebook new feeds, Instagram. So these are the modern ways through which we are doing the advertisements. Talking about today, we are living in the world of advertisement. That's true, my dear children. But advertisement played a very significant role from the very beginning of the industrial age. Talking of the past. So were these advertisements important at the time even? Yes, my dear children. So when the industrial revolution started, at the time even these advertisements played a very important role for developing a new consumer culture. The thing which we'll see, we'll purchase it. Suppose we have made a product, okay, but only few people will be knowing. But if you are doing the advertisement, if you are going for an ad in the newspaper or television, then only we'll come to know about a particular product which has been launched. So, beginning of industrial revolution for developing a new consumer, we are the consumers, we are using a particular thing. For creating the consumer culture, purchasers, buyers. So moving ahead, my dear children, let's see about the initial years. In the beginning, how was the advertisement done and all. Initial stages of advertising in India. So in the beginning, how the manufacturers or the producers did the advertisement, what were the different ways, how did they did the advertisement? Let's see about that, my dear children. So when Manchester industrialists began selling cloth in India, they put labels on cloth bundles. So cloth bundles, that cover, we can say that. On cover certain labels were there. Okay. And there it was written in bold, made in Manchester. And today even most of us, we have the habit of showing. Okay. So when we go to market, even sometimes we go for where the particular product has been made. Okay. Now in the present scenario, most of you might be thinking that we must not go for the goods that are made in China. Okay. But at that time, my dear, when on the label it was written made in Manchester, you are a bit sure about the quality, the final quality, because it was machine made, and whereas the cloth which was made in India, that was somewhat coarse. Okay, it was rough, and that's why when the label was there made in Manchester, most of the people, they were very quite confident about the quality and they were ready to purchase it. There were some other ways even which manufacturers used for the advertisement. When the buyer saw made in Manchester written the bold on the label, they were expected to feel confident about the buying the cloth. They were sure about the quality. But now, as you know, sometimes when you go for the electrical gadgets which are very cheaper in market, and when you purchase, the other person says it is made in China. If it is going to work, that's your luck. If it doesn't, we are not responsible for it. But when we go for the goods of Japan or other countries, Korea and all, we are quite confident about that they will be functioning properly. Okay, it depends. So during the time made in Manchester, written on board also made the purchaser, the consumer, confident about the quality of that particular good. Okay, so sometimes the images of Indian gods, goddesses, example Krishna and Saraswati, used in the label made the product manufactured from a foreign land appear somewhat familiar to Indian people. So the person, a foreign producer, if there was a label of gods and goddesses, as most of us, we were religious. Now even we are religious, my dear children. But during the time, if we saw the images of gods and goddesses, we were attracted towards, and we felt that the manufacturer is aware about our culture, and that's why we were attracted towards that good which was having the label of gods and goddesses. The gods and goddesses Krishna and Saraswati were used by the manufacturer at that time. Okay. By the late 19th century, manufacturers were printing calendars to popularize their products. Okay, now even this thing has been done. We have the certain calendars where below at the bottom there are advertisements which talk. So during that time even the calendars were used for advertising, for making the goods popular. Okay. Unlike newspapers and magazines, calendars were used even by the people who could not read. So at that time in India, illiteracy was more. Less people were literate. Okay. So as illiterate people, though they cannot read, but the advertisements, okay, they could see, they can see the product which is, they were able to see the gods and goddesses there, and that's why they were attracted. Those who are not able to read and write, even they can see the advertisements and they were attracted towards the goods. So as we talked about, my dear children, the producers, they use the images of gods and goddesses. Not only that, they use some other ways even, and sometimes the images of personas and important figures. Personas, we are talking about the important persons. They too appeared in the advertisements, talking about the Nawabs and the kings, the rulers of at that time. And that even made the consumers, made the people feel that as these goods, all the products are being used by Nawab or the emperors, there was no question of quality about it. So let's see about that. Beside the images of gods, sometimes figures of important personages, we are talking important personalities of emperors and Nawabs were used in advertisements and calendars. As I told you, in the popular advertisements at present, even today we can see that the sports persons appear in the advertisements, and some senior stars, talking about Akshay Kumar, talking about Mahendra Singh Dhoni, talking about Sachin Tendulkar, all these also appear in the advertisements and calendars just to advertise. So during that time, Nawabs and emperors were also used for advertisements. Here the masses denoted that we could not question of the quality of the product as it was used by such personalities. So seeing the great personalities doing the advertisements, sometimes even we feel that these advertisements, if these personalities are doing, they are also using the same product, and we are quite confident about the quality and we purchase them. Okay. Advertisement sometimes became a vehicle of the nationalist message of Swadeshi. So during that time, India was under the control of East India Company or the Britishers, and during the time, sometimes the advertisement also plays an important role in the movement of Swadeshi movement. Okay. The message of nationalists was, they used to give the message below that in the advertisements. If you care for your country, then buy products that Indians produce. This message, my dear, this particular thing, Swadeshi. Now it's the time, high time for all of us to again turn back to our Swadeshi. Okay, the goods which are produced by our Indians. Okay. The message of nationalists was, if you care for your country, you must care for our country. Okay. Then buy products that Indians produce. That was the message of Swadeshi movement at that time. And the time has come again that we must think over this to increase, to boost up our Indian economy. So let's move to the conclusion part of this particular chapter, my dear children. So the conclusion, we can know that the industrial age or the revolution, we can say that it was a time when various changes took place all around the world, even in India. Okay, the pattern of production changed. Okay, and new changes took place, new labor force emerged, factories were set up, and the working population even changed, the pattern of working changed because of the new technology. So clearly the age of industries has meant major technological changes, invention of machines, spinning jenny, steam engine, fly shuttle. These were some of the inventions which brought changes in the production, okay, especially in the field of cotton and textile. Changes, growth of factories and the making of new industrial labor force. So earlier the production was carried out where, my dear children? It was carried in the villages, in the homes, units were there. But with the coming of factories, with the coming of industries, what happened? The people from villages moved towards the cities for getting employment. And getting employment means, here we are talking about the labor force. Labor force, the people who are going to work in factories for carrying on the production. We had also seen about the gomastas and jobbers. Okay, those who are responsible for appointing the people, recruiting the people. Industrial labor force, small scale production and hand technology. Small scale production, already I told you. In that, my dear children, that most of the things, because the industries were there only few in big cities, whereas most of the production, 90% of the production, that was being carried in the villages, okay, in the small units. Small scale production and hand technology. Hand technology, why we are talking about? We are talking about the weavers, we are talking about the people, those who made the intricate designs, the complex designs, okay, which could not, because even the machines could not imitate the designs that were made by the weavers. So this is about the hand technology, even that played a very important role in the industrial revolution. Hand technology also played key role in the industrial landscape. This was all about this particular lecture. I hope, my dear children, all of you have got all the things very clearly. Thank you. Have a good day.